Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 3 of Kendo Chat. It's finally, I've finally been able to get together the stuff that I need to stream here from my new place here in Fukuoka. Hopefully, it's going to go fine without problems. I've had to set up my new internet and stuff. My internet setup is a little bit different to how it was before, so hopefully, we're going to be fine without any technical issues. If you notice anything, just pop something in the chat, okay, if there's something that's not working right. Okay, so we're going to be getting straight into things in a second. I'm going to be playing a different game to what I'm normally playing today. I'm playing Warframe, one of my favourite games I've been playing for a long time, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to playing that with you guys. So, just before I kick off a game, though, I just want to give a quick sort of update. I've been working really hard on the Kendo Show and on KendoStar, and I've got two very important announcements to bring to you, which is something that I mentioned on the Facebook update there. So, actually, let's kick off a game, and we'll probably start off with the announcements as soon as we get a few more people into the stream. Okay, so as I just said, we're just starting on episode 3 of Kendo Chat today. I hope it's all going to go fine because this is a new internet setup for me here in my new house, so hopefully it's all going to be fine. I hope you can hear me okay as well. Okay, so pressed the wrong button there. Okay, so I'd like to kick off by getting straight to the announcements that I've got for you guys today. Like I said before, I've been working really hard on the Kendo Show and also on KendoStar as well. It's been really busy for me the last few weeks. Basically, what I'd like to sort of announce is first, let's get to the Kendo Show. First episode of the Kendo Show released just a few weeks ago now. Really successful. I really can't sort of say how impressed I am and how happy I am with how successful that's been. There's been almost 3,500 or more than 3,500 views on that already, and yeah, I'm really happy that it's turned out to be as popular as it has. That's really brilliant. So I'd like to take the opportunity to announce hello, by the way, Great Zio, thank you for your comment there. I'd like to take the opportunity to announce that the next episode will be released on Monday. That's Monday, the 16th of May. Okay, so that's next Monday, the coming Monday, and that's Japanese Standard Time. Okay, so do make sure that you check that out. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, and then you can make sure you can catch that update as soon as it hits. Okay. If you're a contributor to our Patreon account, though, you'll have probably already seen it, as you've got about a week's early access to that. So I'm just going to turn the sound on this down because it's a little bit louder than I'd like it to be, and I can't concentrate on both. So let's try pressing the right buttons here. Let's turn that right down. Okay, so back to this one. Okay. So yeah, so we've got a brand new episode coming out on Monday, so please do tune into that. It's been absolutely overwhelming, the support that I've been getting for the Kendo Show so far, and I'm really looking forward to bringing you new episodes of it as well. So yeah, new episode coming on Monday. Moving on from that, the second... Oh, I've fallen down the pit there. The second thing that I'd like to announce, and this is a really big one. I've been working really hard on KendoStar. I'm sure you've been sort of seeing the updates and stuff that I've been putting up on Facebook and what have you. If you haven't, get over to Facebook, facebook.com/KendoStar Japan. Okay, you got to put that Japan on the end there because someone else has already got KendoStar on its own. It's someone's private account, so don't go to that. Okay, but basically, yeah, I've been working really hard on getting everything ready for that. It's been a little bit delayed because of the big earthquake that unfortunately happened down here in Kyushu that mainly hit Kumamoto and Oita. But things are starting to finally come together, and I'm really pleased to announce that I'll also be opening KendoStar officially again on Monday. That's Monday the 16th of May. Okay, so make sure that you get onto the Facebook page, check that out as well, because we'll have some special discounts for our opening period. So you'll be able to pick up a great deal whilst things are nice and new and fresh, and there'll be better deals, to be honest, than I'll be able to give in the long term. So it's a really great time to grab a bargain if you log on to that website early on and pick up one of the deals. Okay. So Monday is a big day. We've got a new episode of the Kendo Show and a new episode of a new episode of the Kendo Show and the opening of KendoStar. Okay, so please keep those in mind and make sure you check both of those out. See if I can hit that guy. Okay, brilliant. So I'm just sort of reading my notes as I do this. So I've got this set on a really easy difficulty level. So I'm a bit of a noob, so I can't. See, I couldn't even hit that guy. There we go. I can't play and talk at the same time very well. I'm not really used to that yet, so you're just gonna have to forgive me a little bit on that. Okay. So before we move on to today's topic, like I said about the Kendo Show, is it's supported in lots of different ways, and one of those ways is our Patreon fund. And as part of the deal of contributing to our Patreon fund is a shout out and a thank you via this live stream. So I'd like to just do that before I move on. I'm just going to quickly just wipe out a couple of these guys. There we go, and this guy, there's one for you as well. Okay, so I'm just going to bring up my list here. Press the wrong one there. There we go. It's going to bring up my list here so I can do that. I'd like to really give a big thank you to everybody who's contributed to the Kendo Show's Patreon fund so far, and the shout outs go to, and I'm going to read these names exactly as they are listed on Patreon. Apologies for some of the pronunciation. Some of it might not be pronounced correctly because I'm English and I'm not as cultured as I probably should be. So Matthew, thank you very much. Matthew Cooper, thank you very much for contributing. Clement Jean, I think that's how I pronounce it. I notice you've actually joined a lot of these streams with us as well. Thank you so much for contributing. David Roberts, Alexis Jolis DeSaltels, Ian Earl Navarro, Lorian Gridenock, Alexis Levis, Wasabi Tom, Alessandro Simico Costa da Silva, Michael Rubio, Yi Zen, Pavel Jehundovic, sorry, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that properly. Tony, I've just got your first name. Pierre Reinick and Wes Horn. You guys have all contributed between $5 and $35 to the Patreon fund since we opened it, and I really can't stress how much that's helping us bring the Kendo Show together and make it into something that it really deserves to be. So thank you so much for that. Thank you for your support, and anyone else who's watching, you can contribute to the development of the Kendo Show and therefore Kendo internationally by going to patreon.com/the Kendo Show. Okay, so please do check that out if you're interested in helping us out. So okay, with that being said, that's the sort of housekeeping stuff out of the way. Let's move on to today's topic. Now today's topic is I've got a new position in the camera, so I'm sorry if I'm sort of looking away as I'm talking. I'm going to try and keep looking back at you without dying in the game, but we'll see how that goes. I'd like to talk about early level grading, and by that I mean from Ikkyu to Sandan or third dan. So first Q to third dan is what I'd like to make today's discussion about. There we go. And basically, why do I refer to that as early level is something that maybe a few people might be wondering, and that's because, in my opinion, and this is my own personal way of looking at gradings, is I consider early level as anything up to third dan. and then I'd say mid-level is sort of 4th and 5th dan, and then high level is sort of 6th to 8th dan. And I say that because let me just where is he hiding behind here? There he goes. There we go. There we go. And I say that because up to 3rd dan, you're still really demonstrating the basics. It's all about mastering the basics, the kihon. And then mid-level is where you actually have to start demonstrating an understanding of more sort of conceptual elements. And 6th dan and above is where you have to really show some sort of mastery of those concepts. Okay, great, Zio. Yeah, you're mid-level. Okay, great. That makes 2 of us. So let's keep aiming for that high level. So yeah, so it's for me, like I say, I'd say the early level is basics, mastering basics. Then you're gonna, for your mid-level, you're starting to show understanding of some of the more difficult concepts, and then the high level, you're gonna actually start showing the beginnings of effectively applying those concepts and to some level of mastery of those concepts. Okay, I mean, arguably you'll never master them, but that's the, you know, I think you catch my drift. So basically, for what I'd like to do is sort of break down a few sort of each level and what I consider is what's sort of expected or what should be expected for each of those levels. But before I do that, I'd like to have a quick sort of run over of what I think you should be looking at for all levels, or if alternatively, if you are beyond these levels already and maybe you're in a position where you have to help your dojo mates achieve these sort of early grades, or if you are in a position where you're even sitting on a panel for these, I hope some of these sort of thoughts will be helpful as well. But of course, they're only my thoughts. Your thoughts may vary, may be different. So feel free to leave a comment there if that's indeed the case. Okay. There we go. Right, so first off, like I say, what I would think that candidates should be thinking about for all levels. Now, when I say all levels, that means from, like I said, the Ikkyu, first Q, up to 3rd dan or Sandan. Okay. Grading's about... What happened there? Okay. Let's carry on. Grading's about challenging yourself to perform what you've practiced up to now, and it's about performing that under the pressure of a watchful eye, about putting yourself under that pressure of the grading itself, and also being able to perform under those levels of stress, for want of a better word. It's a journey of self-improvement. Kendo's about self-improvement. We all know that. We all know that the concept of Kendo is about ningen keisei, or the improvement of oneself. And it's not a game of just trading blows with sticks. I think most of us would agree with that. Even shiai, or tournaments, are a method of self-improvement more so than a method of achieving self-glory. At least that's the ideal. So in my personal opinion, you know, you hear lots of talk about this is grading Kendo, this is shiai Kendo, this is, you know, and what have you. And to some extent, yeah, but I think the actual techniques of Kendo in the sort of basic form shouldn't really change. The tactics are different. The tactics between grading and shiai are different, but the actual underlying Kendo should be basically the same. So, you know, and that goes for grading, shiai, and keiko as well. Your Kendo is your Kendo. You don't have 3 types of Kendo. One sort of Kendo for shiai, one sort of Kendo for grading, and one sort of Kendo for practice, right? But you do have different sets of tactics, and that's what I think is the important thing to remember, and that's for all levels, like I said. So the really important thing, and this is for all levels, and I think this is even something that I'm working on now towards my 6th dan, and it's about making positive attacks and making progress towards the opponent, showing willingness to be proactive. And it means that you know, obviously you hear it a lot. Don't block. Don't step back. That sort of thing. Yeah, that's very a very basic way of putting it, but it's very very important. You have to you have to have confidence in what you're doing. If you're positive and you make strikes confidently, and provided that you've put in enough practice, and that doesn't mean just turning up a practice, but practice with the intention of improving your, of improving these points, then theoretically you should pass. Okay, so it's all about taking the initiative, going forward, and showing that willingness to participate in the encounter. And then yeah, it's in, like I said, the actual tactics somewhat different. It's okay to be hit. It's okay to be struck. That's one part where grading really differs from Shiai or from tournaments, because if you're struck in a tournament, then obviously you're going to lose. But in grading, being hit doesn't mean that you'll fail. So you definitely don't need to worry about blocking. You're more likely to fail if you block than if you are fail than if you receive a strike. So it's far better to just receive the strike than to block it. But that isn't to say that you should just stand there and allow the opponent to hit you. Yeah? If you stand there being a human uchikomidai or hitting dummy, then yeah, you know that doesn't really show much initiative either. So I think the point I'm trying to make is that you shouldn't be worrying about blocking. You certainly don't want to be thinking about trickery or trying to, dupe your opponent into, making some sort of mistake so that you can capitalize on it. It's certainly not at these early levels of gradings. And I think you can achieve all of the earlier stage grades, and to some extent some of the mid-range ones, without the use of Ojiwaza or how can I say, counterattacks, or Hikiwaza or Tsubazeriai. I don't think you need those for the early, and to some extent even the mid-level grades. I think for my 5th Dan exam, I don't think I used a single Ojiwaza or a single Hikiwaza. It was all Shikakiwaza, because again, like I said, it's all about that, showing your willingness to participate in the encounter. Grade 0, from my 1st to 3rd Dan grading, I tried to stay with good posture when getting started. Yeah, that's exactly it. I agree completely. And that's something I'm going to go into in just a bit of detail right now, is that, yeah, up to 3rd Dan especially, you really want to be focusing on basic stuff like that posture, and those sort of basic movements, footwork, that sort of thing. Okay, so there's some basic points from my point of view for all levels of grading, certainly in the early stages, that being up to 3rd Dan. So let's have a quick sort of chat now about after I've taken out a couple more of these guys, because they're sort of shooting me and it's a little bit distracting. That one as well. Oh, I missed him. Okay, so let's talk about Ikkyu. Okay, Ikkyu is the first grade that many of us take. I'm not going to talk about grades lower than Ikkyu, because it's so varied around, from person to person, because oh no, I'm going down the pit again. There we go. Because basically, usually most federations regulate their grades from Ikkyu. That's certainly how it happens in Japan, and that's how it happens in my home country of the UK. Below Ikkyu, it's usually regulated at the dojo level or the regional level. In Japan here, it's regulated at the regional level, so people can do the lower Q ranks at sort of there. Here in Fukuoka, for example, we've got you've got obviously the All Japan Kendo Federation. They only do gradings from they actually only do gradings from 6th Dan, the All Japan Kendo Federation. For the gradings from 5th Dan down to Ikkyu, it's done at the prefectural federation, so the Fukuoka Kendo Federation. And then for the lower grades, that being the 2nd Q down to 6th Q, they're actually done by the city federation. So we have I live in Chikushino City, and we have a Chikushino City federation, and they are who administrate the Q grades below Ikkyu. So because the requirements for those grades sort of vary quite a lot, I'm gonna stick to talking about Ikkyu and above. Okay, so starting with Ikkyu, oh, let's just get him. Oh, I think I lost a pickup down there. Essentially, it's the first grade, so you have to really make sure that you're showing the sort of elemental aspects of Kendo. And for that, I think one of the first very important points would be that you can wear the equipment and the uniform correctly. Okay, so you need to make sure that you're wearing everything nice and neatly, you've got your Borgu on properly, you've got your Dogi and Hakama on correctly. And that follows on to doing correct Deiho, okay? Correct manners. Are you able to bow properly at the right times? Are you able to do correct Sonkyo? Are you able to show that you know how the display of manners in Kendo's works? Okay, that's a very, very important thing, and you just have to be able to show that you know how to do that, and and can do it correctly. I'd say the next thing you have to be able to do is be able to hold the shinai properly in Chudan no Kamae. So you're holding it in the correct Kamae, holding the shinai correctly with the obviously the string facing upwards. And that you're able to swing the shinai in a straight line. It's something that actually many people struggle with when they first start out Kendo is actually being able to swing the shinai in a perfectly straight line. And you should certainly be able to do that by the time you're looking at the Ikkyu level of grading. Let me just take out a few of these guys. There we go. And then I'd say the next thing is, and this is a big sticking point I think, and that's you have to be able to make strikes at this level with fumikomi ashi and a reasonably well-timed shout kiai. So basically, basic kikentai no ichi, yeah. So it has to be something that looks a bit like Kendo, yeah. So it has to. Oh, I missed him there. You have to be making that stamp, hitting and shouting at reasonably the same time. Just a second. We've got another comment there. Great Zio. We've got maybe it's good to remember to people that wearing a good Dogi and Borgu doesn't mean to have a brand new one. I think about beginners in Europe. Yeah, I absolutely agree. Wearing the Borgu and the uniform correctly does not mean that you have to have a new one. It doesn't mean you have to have a high quality one. It's not that at all. You can take the cheapest Dogi and Hakama. You can take the cheapest Borgu set, and you can still wear it correctly. If you're wearing it correctly, then that's what's important. It's not about the quality of the equipment they're using. And even for higher levels, I'd say that certainly for the Dan levels, you shouldn't be wearing a sort of synthetic Dogi. Is something that's often said in Japan. I'd use a cotton one. I think you can get away with a Tetron Hakama though for sort of up to first Dan. But after that, you should be thinking about a cotton one. But other than that, yeah, I mean, you don't need flash gear to be able to pass your gradients. You just need to be able to wear it properly. And yeah, I mean, I'd say that most people fail Ikkyu because they don't have the correct kikentai, and they can't stamp. I see lots of people, certainly when I see gradings abroad, in Europe. I have more experience of gradings in Europe than I do in the Americas, so I may be sort of speaking out of line when it comes to the US or South America or Middle America, but and Canada, of course. But certainly, from what I've seen in Europe, is lots of people, they attempt Ikkyu, but they still haven't quite got to grips with performing fumikomi or stamping. Okay, you have to be able to do that for this level. Okay, if you, it's a really important aspect of Kendo, and it's considered basic footwork. So if you can't sort of get that down, then you're going to really struggle to progress from there. Obviously, there's some people I understand that may have sort of medical issues or problems that they can't necessarily stamp. I have heard of that before, similar with Sonkyo, but I can't really speak for people's individual circumstances. So if you're in that situation, then I recommend that you just consult your sensei, okay? Consult your teacher about that. But for the most part, you should be thinking about being able to do those basic movements, yeah? So basic stamping, hitting, and shouting at the same time, okay? If you can't do the stamp yet, then you need to get that down before you go in for your Ikkyu, okay? You might get through it without it, but my personal opinion, if I was on the panel, I think I'd be failing that if they couldn't do that. Having said that, I do know that basically, I know that getting the stamping is quite hard, alright? I know it from my own experience of learning Kendo as an adult, and I also know it from my experience of teaching Kendo in the UK and here in Japan now. It's not easy, okay? It takes time, and everybody gets to grips with it at a different stage. Some of us pick it up quickly, some of us pick it up a little bit later than others, but what's important is that you understand where you're at with it and that you work towards fixing it. And it doesn't matter if it takes you longer than some of your dojo mates to get to grips with doing that stamping footwork. Yeah, but I really can't stress enough, you don't want to be going at your gradings when you can't do that yet, okay? Personally, when I'm teaching Kendo, and this is the same when I was in the UK, I don't actually let people wear Borgu until they can do it. But that's just me. Let's keep going. In France, I saw many people attempting first dan without doing proper fumikomi. Yep, it happens. It happens, and it's a shame to see because it's not to say you can't pass the grading without doing fumikomi. Like I said, some people can't do it for whatever reason, because of I haven't got any super energy. We can't do it for whatever reason because of medical issues or whatever. That isn't to say you have to, there aren't other ways of demonstrating Kikentai no Ichi. It's just not, I think it's a bit difficult in the early stages to get through your gradings properly without doing that. So I really do recommend that you get that nailed beforehand, because you don't want to be, even if you manage to get through your sort of Ikkyu grading or whatever, it's going to set you off on the wrong foot, so to speak. That's not supposed to be a pun. It's going to set you off on the wrong foot if you don't have that nailed before you start getting through those grades. Okay, you're going to have a far more successful Kendo journey if you can get that nailed before you take that first step on the ladder. Okay, so I'm going to die here if I'm not careful. Better run away. Let's just attack from a distance for a bit. Oh, I might have to. Oh, failed. That's not good, is it? That's not good. That's okay. I think we'll try that again. I think we'll have to extract a bit earlier next time. So yeah, that's my stance on Ikkyu. Okay. It's not. If I'm totally honest, it's not it's not complicated stuff, yeah, but at the same time I also appreciate that it's not really simple, okay? Well, it's really simple, but I appreciate that it's not always easy for us to get to grips with without practice. Okay, and it's something that sort of mentally clicks with you after a certain amount of practice. So moving on from that, let's look at Shodan. Okay, Shodan is a somewhat different. Well, actually, I don't think it is. I think it's quite similar to Shodan actually. To Ikkyu. Sorry. Basically, you need to be at the same level as everything that's looked for in the Ikkyu exam, but I think also you need to think about now you need to have much better kikentai. Okay, you definitely need to be making those stamps accurately with the cuts and the voice timed together. Okay, it definitely needs to be there, and you need to have you now need to have what's a sort of decent looking kamae. Okay, it needs to be something that resembles a proper chudan no kamae. I think that's certainly a minimum requirement for first dan. Okay. First dan in Kendo, of course, is not like first dan in many other Japanese Budo, okay? It's not like first dan in Judo or in Karate Do. It's a much sort of lower rank, as it were. It literally is, the kanji for Shodan is first and dan, which is step. So it literally means a sort of beginning. So it's not like doesn't carry the same black belt status as maybe it would in karate or something like that. But that isn't to say that it's a low. Well, it is a low level, but it doesn't mean that it's easy to pass the test for. Okay, you have to be doing something now that genuinely resembles Kendo. And look like you're going on the right path. Okay, you certainly need to be showing better levels now of tenuchi. Okay, the cutting technique with the hands and wrists. Okay, your cuts need to have a decent amount of snap to them, and some sort of crispness. Okay, what do you think about doing more big men than chisai men strike for the first dan? In my opinion, it's better big, especially for adult. I agree with you. I'll talk about doing small cuts in a moment, but for first dan, as it's relevant to what we're talking right now, I agree. I think unless you are confident that you are performing smaller cuts well, then I think probably it's better to stick with big waza that are executed correctly. Okay. The important thing is that you're striking with good tenuchi, and you're striking a good solid strike that isn't just clubbing the opponent. Okay. But at the same time, if you're going to make this massive swing of the shinai, then the last thing you want is a tiny little tap on the armor of the other person either. It has to be a solid strike, but at the same time done with correct tenuchi. Okay, so ashi sabaki as well. I think you need to have better ashi sabaki or footwork than obviously is required for Ikkyu. You should be able to do reasonably smooth suri ashi. Obviously, the fumikomi, I've already stressed many times, but yeah, you need to have nice smooth ashi sabaki. And also, sort of fluid movements. And of course, I think I forgot to mention this for Ikkyu, but the relevant level of kata as well. I think for Ikkyu, most places now ask for the Bokuto ni yoru Kihon waza keikoho. That's certainly what you have to do in Japan. But if it's Nihon Kendo Gata, then you should do that. Whatever's required of you, okay, in your federation. To be honest, for all of these levels, Ikkyu, first dan, second dan, third dan, frankly, you should just be able to perform the kata correctly without making mistakes. You shouldn't need to be showing particularly deep conceptual understandings of it at this stage. You should just be able to perform it without without screwing it up. Okay, you're allowed to make a mistake once, like I think it's once, you know, thanks to nerves and stuff like that. But you know, if you practice it enough, then it's pretty straightforward stuff. You just have to you know, give it a try. There's a problem with my sound issue. Maybe move my mic. Hang on, let me try plugging it in and out again. I don't know if that's any better. Any better? If it's any better, if it's not, let me know. I'll change the headset. Maybe that's the problem. Like I said, this is the first time streaming from my new place. I haven't got the internet set up perfect just yet, so it could be a connection issue as well. So it's better. Okay, good. Thank you for letting me know that. Okay, so yeah, so that's that on kata as well. So I think lots of people fail Shodan for the same reasons as people fail Ikkyu, not being able to do Fumikomi, not being able to stamp. I think is a big issue there, big block for people getting through it. Or I think another thing that you really do need to show more of in Shodan than you do in perhaps Ikkyu is STEMI. Okay, STEMI means to throw away your body. So basically the commitment to the attacks and positivity, full spirit when you're attacking. Okay, not worrying about being hit, but just going with all of your might, as it were. I think some people get caught up in fighting. They get caught up in fighting in the grading, which isn't really what it's about. It's more of a demonstration of your, you know, correct practice of kendo. So you need to make sure that you're attacking with full spirit and with full STEMI. Okay, so that's my opinion on that anyway. Okay, so moving on to Nidan. Okay, Nidan is obviously an extension of the Shodan requirements and built on top of the Ikkyu requirements. Okay, so it's everything that we've already discussed. Plus, everything needs to now be looking more polished, and by that, you know, you need to have pretty decent looking kikentai. You need to have smooth, fluid footwork, nice, crisp tenuchi, and good kiai. And I think that's, you know, something that needs to be evident as an advancement from the previous grade. Okay, so you need to show that you've leveled up. Quite literally from the Shodan candidates. Okay, what you don't want is, obviously at one of these gradings you're going to go into it and there's going to be a load of Shodan candidates that will do their grading often before they do the Nidan candidates. Okay, sometimes they do it at the same time, but what you don't want is, you don't want the panel to not be able to tell the difference between you and the previous set of candidates. Okay, you need to make sure that you've got those things, nicer looking kamae and smoother footwork, crisp tenuchi, nice well timed kikentai. Okay, and a big voice, very big voice is always very, very important. Now this goes back actually to what you were saying, Great Zio, just a minute ago, from about the size of the cuts. I think at Nidan I'd like to start seeing candidates be able to effectively execute small cuts. They don't have to be super small, you know, Miyazaki Masahiro style, you know, sashimen, yeah. But also, you don't need to be. I'd like to see the ability to make crisp cuts without swinging the shinai over the head. Okay, so crisp, strong, but correct, you know, cuts without making a large swing of the shinai. Good and strong kiai when starting grading is really important. It makes you more confident and focused. And I think it's awake. The moment is when you stand up out of Sonkyo, that first, you know, shout that you make towards the opponent, that first kakegoe, that first kiai, you know, has to be big, loud, and fill the room. Okay, you need to make sure you stand out, and that's the point of doing kakegoe. Yeah, is to not just you know, I mean, some people say it's to intimidate your opponent, how proactive you are throughout the encounter. So yeah, really, really good point. Thank you for bringing that one up. So yeah, Nidan, again, like I said, effective smaller cuts, and also now you need to really have the smooth and fluid footwork, be able to maneuver around the area without sort of any real issues. Go other aspects of your kendo. It also affects how well you perform stemi and how proactive you are throughout the encounter. So yeah, really, really good point. Thank you for bringing that one up. So yeah, Nidan, again, like I said, effective smaller cuts, and also now you need to really have the smooth and fluid footwork, be able to maneuver around the area without sort of any real issues. Go, you know, move yourself in the direction that you want to be going in without trouble. And I'd like to see a more I don't want to say advanced, but a more solid fumikomi. Yeah, a proper fumikomi that's, you know, starting to show the basics of good technique. Okay, and for Nidan, and this is something else that I think is very important. You see how it's starting to get a little bit harder now in terms of the actual requirements. We're still talking about physical requirements, though. It's nothing spiritual or conceptual. But I think you need to show better zanshin. Now, zanshin, of course, is a spiritual concept, but what I'm talking about a physical manifestation or a physical display of zanshin. At Nidan, I don't want to be seeing candidates just going through the motions, hit and run through. Okay, zanshin isn't running through. Okay, that's something we do in basic kihon, actually as part of a footwork drill. Good zanshin, you don't really want to take your eyes off your opponent. So you need to make an effective strike and effective separation, effective movement, and, like I said, zanshin, without taking your eyes away from your opponent. Okay, so that means not just hitting and running off to the sunset, yeah? Making sure that you make the strike and you retain your eyes on the opponent by turning your body as you pass, and you can go backwards. Make sure you get that separation back to kamae, yeah? Keeping awareness at all times in case he comes after you. Okay. That's let me just clear out a couple of these guys. I don't want to fail this mission again. And yeah, so that's something else I think is extremely important for the Nidan level. Yeah, it's something that really does separate the candidates from Shodan. I think actually it's how they display zanshin, and of course kata as well. Exactly as I said for the previous one, you just need to be able to show that you can do it without messing it up, and basically, you know, as long as you can do it, I don't think you need to worry too much about all the sort of conceptual stuff. Certainly not at that sort of level. How many waves do you need to clear to finish the mission? Actually, this mission is it's an endless mission, okay, and it works in waves of 5. So every 5 waves I get the option to leave and take the rewards that I've already earned, or I can carry on and do another 5 waves and try and get better rewards. And last time I tried to go for the 15, but I died halfway through, and that's because I'm actually using reasonably low level gear because I'm trying to level up some new weapons and armor and stuff. So I don't know if that makes sense, but basically I got a little bit overconfident and went for the 15 when I should have gone with the I should have taken the 10, and I'm going to take the 10 this time. So I've run out of arrows now. Okay, so last thing on ooh, hang on. Okay, well, I think I'm just gonna go with my sword here. Last thing on Nidan, I'd like to just sort of think about why many people fail Nidan. I think it's going back to what I said about Zanshin. I think lots of people, it is difficult to talk and play, especially as I'm a scrub, to be honest. I'm a real noob. I'm not very good. I play video games all the time when I'm not working, which recently isn't very much. But there we go. See, now I get to choose if I want to take my reward or carry on. But I'm going to extract and take those rewards, and I'm going to come back with some better guns to get some better rewards, I think. So yeah, I think a lot of people miss out on Nidan because they don't display proper Zanshin. I think they're still doing that lower level Zanshin where they just hit and run past their opponent and then turn around and start again. And it looks really mechanical, really staged. It's not a realistic encounter. Neither of the candidates seem to be actively engaged in an actual tachiai. Okay, tachiai being an encounter between two people with in Kendo. Let me just get some better guns on here. I think. Do you know what I'll do? I think I'm going to switch my armor and my whole loadout to this better guy. So yeah, let's have a look. Okay, that should be fine. Let's go with this. This guy's a bit more boss. Let's see if we've got a good mission that I can do on this level instead. Sorry, I'll be back to the chat in 1 second. Let's have a go at this one. I need a different gun though. So yeah, so moving on to Sandan. Sandan is it's a little bit of a bigger step, obviously, from Nidan. Now you've got a few years of practice under your belt. You've obviously done 1 year of Kendo since passing Shodan before you could take the Nidan, and then you've got another 2 years before you could take Sandan. So you've got at least sort of 3.5, 4 years of Kendo under your belt at this stage. Wait a sec, what have we got here? So yeah, so you need to start in some way demonstrating that now. I'm going to take a pair of nunchucks, I think. I know that's not the correct way to pronounce that. I know it's nunchaku, but I think nunchuck sounds much better. It's the one that grew up watching Ninja Turtles. So yeah, Sandan. Yeah, you should have a few... where was it? I think we're going to go with this survival mission. Okay. You should have a few more years Kendo under your belt, so you now have to look like you've really got to grips with the basics. Really interesting. I'm stuck to explain Nidan to people. I know first and third, but Nidan, I'm like, yeah, first plus plus. Yeah, I mean that's exactly it. It's like Shodan, but a bit better for Nidan. You know, it is. You know, but like I said, I think for Nidan, the real key points I want to see. Technically better smaller waza. I want to see the ability to do some smaller waza, and I also want to see better quality Zanshin, something that actually is Zanshin instead of just run through the motions. But yeah, so for Sandan, you need to look like you've got to grips with the basics. You've got a better kamae, and you're now making good, small and sharp strikes, fluid footwork, and a solid fumikomi as well. Okay, you really need to be doing something that looks properly like Kendo now, okay? And your waza should have something called sae, okay? Sae being the crispness or the sort of thing that you can't put your finger on to, you know, that makes the point. Okay, that real sort of the pop of the strike, as well as the correct, you know, everything that sort of comes together to make an effective strike accurate. Okay. And at this stage, I would certainly be expecting candidates to be able to make strikes from the Chudan no Kamae without moving their left foot. Okay, and this is actually really hard, and a lot of people can't do it. But if you're going to be testing for Sandan, then you should be able to do this. Okay, so from your Kamae, you should be able to make a strike without bringing up your left foot for Tsugiashi. Okay, from that Kamae posture, left foot where it is, and go straight for your attack. I really feel that's an important thing for taking the third dan. Also, and this is something that's a little bit difficult to describe because it's not so much a physical sort of piece of kendo, but you need to start to have a basic understanding of the natural timing, the natural how can I say, rhythm of the tachiai. Okay, the natural flow of the encounter, yeah. And this is different to seme, by the way. This is very different to seme, yeah. I'm not saying you should be able to do effective seme, because I personally think, and although I've heard it as described as something as a requirement for Sandan, I personally think that it's not so much. Oh, they've broken one of the windows. That's why it's all gone like low grav and stuff. Let's go to a different area. I think that understanding and utilizing the natural timing and flow of the encounter is different to seme. Okay, seme is when you control that timing and flow, whereas and you also affect the actions of your opponent. But I think that's a little bit too much to ask for somebody at third dan. Instead, like I say, I want to see some sort of understanding of the natural timing, and that means, like, for example, you do men tayatari and then hikido, and the guy, once you do the tayatari, he automatically lifts his arms up, so you've got the chance for hikido. It's not really that you made the seme for hikido, but the timing for the the natural flow and the timing of the tachiai dictated there to be a good opportunity for hikido. Or one guy goes for hikiwaza, the other person chases him down and does oikomi men, and the other person, knowing the sort of general rhythm through experience of a tachiai, pops a debana kote, that sort of thing. It's not really born of seme, but it's still it's still a well-timed ippon. Okay, that's my sort of thoughts on that. And I think the other thing, and this is a little bit vague, I know, but I think at Sandan level you need to be doing a sort of level of kendo that can be used as an appropriate example to beginners, okay, or people that don't know about kendo. You should be able to now be, demonstrate kendo to a level where it can be used as a effective example for people that are of lower levels or of no experience. Okay, so this is how you do men. This is what in kendo. This is how we do a men cut, or we do a kote cut, or something like that. Yeah, you should be able to do that, and without demonstrating something that isn't really what kendo is. Okay, and you should be able to do that consistently. Yeah. A bit of a vague thing, I know, but I really think that's an important thing for Sandan. Hang on. I'm on a different mode now, as you probably tell. I'm instead of beating waves now, what I've got to do is I've got to keep these life support systems active before my timer runs out. So that's what I'm doing right now. I think about about Sandan, I think lots of people fail Sandan because I think maybe they've got still work to do on the basics. Maybe their tenuchi is not quite there yet. That's a very common problem or issue. Let me just kill this thing before it knocks me off my feet. Or their footwork. Maybe their kikentai isn't quite timed properly. Happens quite a lot. That sort of thing. Or because they don't have that sort of, they haven't got to grips yet with that natural timing or flow or rhythm of the tachiai. Okay, so they're not naturally making strikes in good timing. Okay, one of my senseis said it's really good to show proper kotemen during Sandan. Well, you know what? That's a really interesting point. I'm glad you brought that up because I've read that before and I've heard that before. I've heard things like you know, for Nidan you have to be able to do Nidan waza. And you know, I'd like to say that you know, I would expect somebody that's Sandan to be able to perform kotemen, for example. But I think it's a little bit harsh to say you have to perform that in the grading exam itself, because for me, I think I'd rather pass a candidate that only hit men, but hit men at what were naturally good opportunities or timings, than somebody that was kind of doing his best to hit kotemen but not succeeding. You know, obviously if you had the chance to hit kotemen, then yeah, of course, it's, you know, if you can do it properly. And you know, if, like I said, if somebody's Sandan, I'd like to be able to say to them, okay, can you show me kotemen? And then them show me a good looking kotemen. But to say to someone, oh, if you don't, you have to do this specific waza in your grading exam. What if they don't have the, you know, what if it's not the appropriate waza in that specific encounter? I mean, kotemen, for example, is a reasonably common technique that's quite versatile. So you know, but still, you know, coming as somebody that doesn't strike kotemen very often, at least I don't think so. You know, I'm somebody that sort of prioritizes single shot menuchi. That's my personal preference. I don't think that's what I'd personally be looking for. Mumu, hi all, glad to be able to be here in real time. Great to have you here. Thank you for joining us. It's the first stream I've done in a while, and I'm really happy to have you guys along with me. So yeah, that's basically my sort of thoughts on that. Yeah, of course, not focusing on I have to do this, but from Joey, yes, okay, I understand what you mean now. Yeah, yeah, of course. If somebody does the great kotemen in the middle of their let's just bash these guys. In their shinsai, in their grading, then yeah, of course, that should be appreciated, you know, and you know, that's definitely, and you know, let's be honest, at that sort of level, around the sort of Nidan Sandan level, is the point when lots of candidates start to understand when a good opportunity for kotemen arises, and also lots of people are hit by kotemen because they kind of freeze after the first attack and they think it's over. So that's kind of part of where the understanding of that natural flow and rhythm of the tachiai comes from. You know, once a candidate understands that, well, you know, people often freeze after I attack kote like this, that's a good chance for kote and then men. If they can demonstrate that in the in the tachiai, then yeah, absolutely, that's in my opinion, providing that the technique's there, that's definitely Sandan level kendo, absolutely, without a doubt. So yeah, yeah, I think that's. I'm glad you brought that up though, because I have seen that before. I've seen lots of people, say, or I've seen sort of information out there on the web and stuff saying, oh well, for this level you have to perform this, for this level you have to do Nidan waza, and for this level you have to do, I even saw one where it said like, and this is a long time ago and I couldn't tell you where I saw it, but it said, oh, for Sandan, for Nidan you have to show Nidan waza, and for Sandan you have to show Sandan waza. And I think what it meant by that, I think what it actually meant was like Sandan level waza or Nidan level waza. But just to say Nidan waza as in like kote men or kote do or men, that's sort of fine. But for Sandan, asking somebody to perform 3 consecutive attacks, I mean, I think that's just it don't make sense to me. I don't think there's many people that, even of higher grades, that would be able to do that effectively. So. Not in a realistic competitive tachiai. And the other thing that I've seen a few times is that you should be able to make 1 hit at this level. You should be able to make 3 hits at this level, or whatever. I think that's a bit hard to say as well. I mean, I personally, if I was sort of grading for those levels as a panelist, I mean, I'm about to run out of health. I don't think I'd be focusing on the number of strikes that they made rather than how they were conducting themselves in their efforts to make those strikes. But yeah, at the same time, I think certainly for Sandan, and possibly for Nidan as well, I'd like to see him make at least 1 or 2 successful hits that are, good enough to be considered ippon, or yuko datotsu is probably a better way to say that. So yeah, I think that's where I sort of stand on that. Okay, so that's where that's sort of my thoughts on the situation. I've been doing this for just over an hour now. So just before I wrap it up, if anyone who's watching this has got any questions, you can fire them to me right now, and I'll try and or any other comments. Great, Zio, you've been really active, and I've really enjoyed chatting with you about this. But yeah, if anyone's got, or if you've got any more points, Great Zio, to bring up, then let's now's the time. I think gradings are a really difficult thing for whatever level, and it gets really hard after the basic levels as well. What we say? What about one guy from the Shinsa group need to surpass the other? Sometimes I heard about Sandan or Yondan. Well, I don't really know about that. I mean, surpass is like, if that were the case, then that mean. If that were the case, it means that if 2 people were to do the same grade, then only one of them could sort of technically pass, right? Because the other one would be outperforming the other, right? And I don't really think that's necessarily the case. I think 2 people can demonstrate the level that's required for the grading, and still have an equal sort of balance of performance in the tachiai itself. And I think that's not just for lower levels. It's not just Sandan Yondan. I mean, there's hachidans, right? There's hachidans that both candidates pass, and that often is born from the fact that both of the candidates are of a good level, so they're able to perform a good tachiai together. It can be quite difficult to perform well when you're with a partner that's perhaps of a somewhat lower ability than you. So although you might feel that you're dominating the tachiai, You know, you might not be able to demonstrate everything in the sort of way that you want it to, because the tachi itself isn't as, I don't want to use the word clean, but as smooth as you'd perhaps hope for it to be. If that makes sense. I mean, if I understand your question correctly, that is of course. I mean, that's just what I think. All my group of 3 succeeded even before a lot of people told me that you need to be over the other. Sometimes, yeah, exactly. I mean, that's exactly what I mean, to be honest. I don't, you know, if you have to surpass the other candidates, then effectively, then only one from each group could pass, right? I mean, that's how I understand that sort of point of view. You know, I don't think that's what grading should be about. It shouldn't be about proving that you're better than another person. It should be showing that you're able to perform kendo at a certain standard, and that doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, you can't both do that. You know, often it's the case that both can't, because one of, you know, certainly for higher levels, you know, it is quite rare. It is quite rare that for higher level grades that both candidates from a tachi pass, because it does require, specifically for like grades like 6th dan and above, which is what I'm working towards now. Yeah, you know, you have to demonstrate that you've got some sort of control over the opponent and are able to apply semi. But, you know, let's say we've got a 2.5 minute window in which we have our tachi. You know, there's going to be times during those 2.5 minutes where I'm controlling my opponent, and there's going to be times in that 2.5 minutes when he's controlling me. So I don't think it's a sort of, I don't think it's a really accurate way to consider it by saying one person has to succeed over the other or surpass the other, if that makes sense. But that's just my opinion, yeah. That's just what I think. Certainly when I did my Godan in Kumamoto, what am I at, 3 years ago now, you know, both of the people that I did my tachi with, they also passed, you know, and I felt throughout that, oh, I've run out of bullets. I felt throughout that encounter, those tachi, I felt that there were times when I was in control, and I felt at times where where I was under control of, you know, under their control. And I guess for that reason, both candidates passed, you know. So yeah, that's sort of my opinion on that. If that makes sense. Okay, I've got to get to this next live support, otherwise. In case anyone missed it at the start of the stream, I'm actually playing one of my favourite games called Warframe. It's a really fun game. I love it loads because one, it's free. It's free to play. You can play this on PC, PlayStation, and Xbox for free. And it's about space ninjas, and it's cool. Space ninjas is cool. Doom is out today as well, and I actually have it already downloaded, but I don't think I could have played that and talked to you guys at the same time. So I've loaded up Warframe. So yeah, if you're into gaming on PC, Xbox, or PlayStation like me, I'm PlayStation, then check it out if you like Space Ninjas, because it's good and it's free. I already saw 1 or 2 people from the youngest member doing a very good and beautiful Shinsa, pushing the level of this Shinsa. I can't see the full comment. Let me just see if I can get it up on the Twitch stream. Ooh. Just give me a second. I can't quite see a full comment there, so I'm going to just load up my Twitch channel so I can. I'm going to put loads of pressure on my router now. So so I can read that comment properly and give you a proper answer. No, it's no problem. It's no problem. I think I understand though. I think what you mean is like sometimes you have younger or more experienced. The wrong word, but yeah. I mean, sometimes you have very good candidates, and it seems like it pushes the overall level of the Shinsa up. So you know, you get they sort of set the bar high, as it were. And especially for sort of higher levels, particularly if you're going for like Yondan or something like that, and you've got somebody that's very high level, feels like they're pushing the level of Shinsa up. But do you know what? I think you should sort of not worry about that so much. I know it feels like that, but in theory, I mean, it's really difficult to say that. I mean, you could say that about Shiai as well when you see two competitors, and one seems to be very much quicker or much more technically advanced than the other. That the referees have a tendency to bias towards that competitor, and that may well be the case, or it may not. But that's a little bit hard to comment on because it's kind of the personal point of view of the grading panel, or the Shimpan in the case of Shiai, right? In my opinion, in theory, they should be judging every candidate fairly and under the same terms. So yeah, you might have some people that are really good, but they should be doing their best to objectively judge each candidate for their own ability and not based on the ability of the other candidates. If they meet the criteria, then they pass. If they don't, then they fail. And just because one candidate may be performing at a higher level than others, doesn't mean that they should raise the bar for everybody, as it were. But I do understand as well that as a grading panelist, it can be hard once, especially as it's the younger people come out first, not to set the to kind of unintentionally do that. But that's part of the shugyo, or that's part of the job of being a grading panelist. You have to you have to not do that. That's kind of your duty. I think it's about more older people who show different kendo, but sometimes it looks like they are judged like younger. Some not in the jury. Yeah, I know that's the thing. It's really hard to say, and it's really down to the individual judges. I can't really say whether, I can't say that there's no judges that would be biased like that. But I think for the most part they shouldn't be. I think what you do have is a common problem, and this, I don't know, this might not be a very popular thing for me to say, but I think that many older candidates struggle with some of their some of the grades compared to the younger ones because it takes them longer to get to grips with the basics. But they still attempt the gradings in similar timeframes to some of the younger candidates. So even though they haven't got to grips with it, and I don't want to say, because they're older or not, it's not, it's not about that, because there's some people that start kendo older and they pick up very quickly. It's not really about that, but it is obviously a fact that, I know from my own experience, someone that started kendo as an adult. Yeah, I started kendo still at a young age. I was 19 when I started kendo, so still young. But it took me longer to pick up kendo than it's now taking my 8-year-old daughter. Yeah, and my 6-year-old daughter. Yeah, they're picking up kendo much quicker than I did as a 19-year-old. Okay, so that's something that I do think is possibly a factor. So yeah. it's a bit of a hard one to say. It could be the grading panel that's being influenced by um, the younger applicants, or it could indeed just be that sometimes when we start a bit later, we might have a tendency to try and get through the gradings faster than maybe we're ready for. But I don't know. That's a really like a personal, each person to their own, both on the side of the participant and on the side of the grading panelist as well. So it's a really difficult thing to address. Okay, so my time is about to come to an end with you guys. I've got a lot to do because, as I said to you at the start of the video, I'm going to recap over it. Monday the 16th of May, that's this coming Monday, is a very big day, and I've got a lot of preparation to do for it, so that's why I'm going to have to love you and leave you guys right now. Monday 16th, we've got a brand new episode of the Kendo Show. Okay, it's a really great one. If you're one of the contributors to our Patreon account, thank you very much, and you've probably already seen the new episode as you get early access to it. If you're not a contributor to the Patreon fund but you would like to be and you would like to support the Kendo Show, get over to patreon.com/the Kendo Show. Do you know when the next Twitch session is? I don't know exactly when it will be, but it will be next week. Okay, so please keep an eye on the Kendo Gamer Facebook group, Facebook page, and I'll make sure that I announce it up on there. Monday 16th. So yeah, new episode of the Kendo Show. You can get on Patreon and support us at patreon.com/the Kendo Show. And Mirror, I don't know if that's how I'm pronouncing it properly. KendoStar Cool Cat. I'm noticing a sort of feline theme with your posts there. I noticed what was it, purr or something earlier as well. A bit of trivia for you. Don't know if you understand any Japanese or not, but in Japanese, cats don't say meow or purr. They say nya. Nyaa, nya. Okay, so there's a bit of trivia for you. Anyway, Monday 16th. Other than Kendo Show update, new episode, we've got the grand opening of KendoStar. Thank you for bringing that up for me. It's going to be opening on Monday, 16th of May. Get on the KendoStar Facebook page if you're not already on it, and get on our mailing list at kendostar.com, because I'm going to be sending out some very special opening deals, offers. That's it. Yeah, there you go. An opening offer that you're going to be able to get a excellent deal, better than you'll be able to get later on, because although I'll be running sort of sales and offers and stuff going forward as much as I can, to be honest, I won't be able to do as big a discount as I'm going to be doing for our opening sale, because I really want to get things kicked off the ground. So make sure you're tuned in for that as well, so you can benefit from it. Other than that, I think that's everything. Thank you very much for watching this. If you're watching this on YouTube, it will be... I'm sorry you missed the live stream. This stream will be going over to YouTube very shortly, so it'll be archived there so you can watch it any time. I hope you enjoyed this discussion about gradings for Kendo at early levels, from Ikkyu to Sandan. Don't forget, leave us a comment, let us know what you thought. Let us know what you'd like us to talk about in the next episode as well. You can leave us a comment down on the YouTube comments, or you can comment on our Facebook, stuff like that. Okay, brilliant. Thank you very much for watching. I've really enjoyed today's stream, and I'm really looking forward to the next one. Keep in touch with Kendo Gamer on Facebook to find out when you can join us again. Okay, see you guys soon.